Ko te amorangi ki mua ko te hāpai o ki muri. Kia tau iho ona mana ki tanga ki nunga ki tēnā, ki tēnā, ki tēnā o tāta. E ho onore he kroria he mau ngāro mo ki nunga ki te mato te whenua. E whakaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa. Aro haina ngā teina, me ngā tuakana. E noho nei i rungi te whakaro te tahi, pai mariri.
Please be seated. E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o ngā hau e whā, tēnei aku mihi mahana ki o koutou. Nau mai, hara mai ki te whare nei, te whare o te kāwana tianara, kei whanganui e tara. Distinguished guests, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Government House Wellington for today's investiture ceremony. I'd like to specifically acknowledge the Honourable Brooke Van Velden, Minister of the Crown, Kerry Gregory, Chief Executive, Fire and Emergency, Russell Wood, National Commander, Fire and Emergency, Mr Joe Harawira, our kaumātua, and Mrs Rānui Ngārimu, our kuia. Tēnā koutou katoa. Hosting investiture ceremonies is one of the most important duties I perform on behalf of His Majesty, the King of New Zealand. I'm delighted to bring together such an extraordinary group of New Zealanders. You have each brought pride and a greater sense of well-being to Aotearoa New Zealand through your outstanding achievements and your service to our communities. On behalf of all New Zealanders, I extend my sincerest thanks to you for your contributions. After each recipient is honoured, I invite you to join with me in congratulating them. Ms. Catriona McLeod will now summon the recipients and read their citations.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr Ralph Fegan of Wānaka for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and the community. Ralph Fegan volunteered with Franz Joseph Volunteer Fire Brigade for 22 years before joining the Wānaka Brigade, where he served 17 years. He was Chief Fire Officer in Franz Joseph and has been Secretary since 2013 in Wānaka. He is Senior Vice President of the Otago Southland Gold Star Association. He was Chairman of Lake Wānaka Tourism Westland Promotion Board, West Coast Tourism Development and West Coast Tourism Council. He was Director of the South Island Promotion Association. He has volunteered with a range of other organisations, including the New Zealand Fighter Pilots Foundation Trust, Wānaka Airport, Upper Clutha RSA, Wānaka A&P Show and Food for Love. Mr Fegan was previously a Westland District Councillor and a Civil Defence Controller for Franz Joseph. Mr Ralph Fegan, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr Glenn Teal of Auckland, for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and the community. Glenn Teal is Chief Fire Officer of the Auckland Operational Support Unit, OSU, which comprises 60 volunteers and provides 24/7 support to Fire and Emergency New Zealand, or FENZ, personnel and other emergency services. He helped formulate FENZ's first comprehensive basic training and progression system for operational support personnel. He established an observer program to drive recruitment. He led projects to upgrade the unit's standalone radio network, refurbish premises, and replace brigade vehicles. He mobilized OSU resources to assist following the 2010 Christchurch earthquake and during the 2019 Marlborough wildfires. Mr. Teal has applied his property and investment expertise to the Auckland Baptist Tabernacle Trust Board and Laidlaw College Foundation. Mr. Glenn Teal, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the King's Service Medal, Mr. Lance Berry of Rongotea for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and the community. Lance Berry is Deputy Fire Chief with Rongotea Fire Brigade. He guided the expansion of the station to allow hosting of family-friendly activities and established the annual Rongotea fireworks display. He has been a leader in both Te Kawau Cubs and Te Kawau Scouts. He was influential in the build and management of the Te Kawau Memorial Centre and continues to provide maintenance to the roofing structure. Mr. Berry chairs the Rongotea Community Committee and has led several community projects, including the upgrade of the Douglas Square and the Waitohi Road walkway through the Keep Rongotea Beautiful campaign. Mr. Lance Berry, please come forward. Mr. Ian Campbell of Te Awamutu for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and Taekwondo. Ian Campbell is Chief Fire Officer of Te Awamutu Volunteer Fire Brigade. He has made the brigade more modern and dynamic and formalised volunteer pathways. He led fundraising for hydraulic rescue equipment and a new emergency response vehicle. He was instrumental in a memorandum of understanding with St. John to assist with medical emergencies. He chaired the brigade's centennial celebrations. He is head instructor of Te Awamutu Taekwondo Club and has grown the club to offer further self-defense training, senior training, black belt camps, sparring and seminars. Mr. Campbell is one of 13 7th Dan Masters in New Zealand. Mr. Ian Campbell, please come forward. Mr. Brian Carter of Bulls for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand. Brian Carter has served with the Bulls Volunteer Fire Brigade since 1970 and is the first member of this brigade to reach 50 years service. As Chief Fire Officer, he's led the brigade through regular call-outs and several regional disasters, while working as a self-employed craftsman upholsterer. He was elected parent representative on the Clifton School Board of Trustees for 3 terms. He was re-elected for a second term as councillor for the Southern Ward on the Rangitikei District Council in 2022. Mr. Carter serves the local community as a Justice of the Peace. Mr. Brian Carter, please come forward. Mr. Greg Imms of Kerikeri for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand. Greg Imms has been a member of the Kerikeri Volunteer Fire Brigade for more than 50 years, with a 92% attendance rate at call-outs. He was acting Deputy Chief Fire Officer, guiding the brigade during a transitional period. He continues in the role of operational support and remains actively involved in the brigade. In his early years of service, he gave his time to help build the brigade through the acquisition of second-hand equipment. Mr. Imms has supported St John Ambulance in Kerikeri, helping with difficult patient extrications at crash sites and resuscitations for cardiac arrest ambulance call-outs. Mr. Greg Imms, please come forward. Mr. Rob Webb of Taihape for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and the community. Mr. Rob Webb has volunteered with the Taihape Volunteer Fire Brigade since 1970 and continues as operational support. He was a Taihape Borough Councillor and President of the Taihape RSA. He was on the boards of trustees for Taihape Primary School and Taihape College, taught brass band music to students, and coached rugby. He's been a Pirates Rugby Club committee member and Taihape Musicians Club member. He's held several roles in St Margaret's Anglican Church. Mr. Webb is a marriage celebrant and Justice of the Peace and works in the Taihape District Court as a bailiff and clerk. Mr. Rob Webb, please come forward. Mr Glenn Williams, Te Puki, for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and the community. Glenn Williams is Chief Fire Officer of Te Puki Volunteer Fire Brigade, having previously served with the Mount Maunganui Volunteer Fire Brigade. During the transition from the New Zealand Fire Service to Fire and Emergency New Zealand, he was Integration Advisor and part of the Safety, Health and Wellbeing Project team. He held several leadership roles with the United Fire Brigades Association, including President. He was a member of the NZFS Regional Operating Committee. He was a trustee of Leukemia and Blood Cancer New Zealand. Mr Williams led a committee to fundraise $50,000 for Te Puki High School. Mr Glenn Williams, please come forward. Your Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
Don't worry about the little one making noise, let them run around. New Zealand's honours system is our highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces those things that make our society better: service, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of excellence. To our recipients, it has been a privilege to hear your stories. You have each used your talents and abilities to improve the lives of fellow New Zealanders. In doing so, you embody the sentiment expressed by American writer and philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson when he said, "The purpose of life is not to be happy, it is to be useful, to be honourable, to be compassionate, and have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well." I urge recipients to wear your insignia with pride at every opportunity, knowing that you inspire others by your example. On behalf of the King of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements, and I thank you once again for your service to our country. Kia ora, e huhi mai nei I tēnei ata. Now you will see on the back of your program the words to the national anthem in te reo and in English. I now invite you to stand with me and join in singing these.